Hey guys, and welcome back to ZILT. I could start every episode apologizing for the lack of content, but I won't. Ever since I started this series, work is getting more and more busy, and maintaining a regular upload schedule is not possible. So, the theme of this episode, it's gonna be, well, if you've seen the intro, it's gonna be military and it's gonna be war. The date 1938, of course, is chosen quite conveniently because I can segue to, well, upcoming events, being the Second World War, of course. In this episode, I'm gonna tell the story about the Dutch Calvé factory in Delft, which is an oil factory back in 1938, which actually has a fascinating war history. So in 1939, the whole world saw what was coming. Everyone knew war was on the horizon. People were scared, there was a lot of social unrest, and also there was unrest within the bigger companies in the Netherlands. Because military spending has never been a big thing in the Netherlands. We stayed neutral in the First World War, and the idea was we could stay neutral in the second as well, in case that one would happen. The Calvé factory saw this happening and was worried about their safety and decided to act on their own. They contacted the Ministry of War and requested cooperation, which they got, and in so managed to buy their own anti-aircraft guns. The employees would operate the guns and would defend the factory in case of war, which they did, because on the 10th of May 1940 they managed to shoot down 11 German aircraft. In doing so, protecting the factory and also parts of the city of The Hague. Of course, this was all in vain because the Dutch capitulated on the 14th of May. Yet, the silver lining is that the factory survived and the people still had a source of income during the darker days ahead. The factory itself was destroyed in 2008. Looking at the news articles, people really loved their job at this factory, so it was with a lot of tears to see this shut down. I like the idea that the factory I built has some kind of similarities to it, not really that much of course, but let's just see it as the factory in Nieuwe Sluis. So in this episode we're gonna do some live footage from the game, because I want to show you a little bit more than I usually can. So, here we are. That's a way too modern airplane passing by. Here you got an overview of how the map is forming right now. I have reclaimed more and more land. I built so much small stuff, which you guys only see in the videos. But I sometimes want to just build offline. So for example, here it is this really cool housing community for people who work on land. I like this because I can make it bigger and I can make a little town out of it. For example, here there is a palace. My idea is the royal family has like a vacation home out here because, well, who doesn't want to live here? One of the most important things that changed is that we got a highway now, and we got a highway towards the city, with awful traffic. At some point this of course needs to change. But now everyone who has to go to the ferry terminal has to go straight through town and, well, for this town maybe stay in hotels and some tourism. And they have to drive through or take the train and end up at the ferry terminal to the fictional colony Kralingburg. So this is where the ferry goes. As you might have noticed in the overview, there's a lot new. This is the military base. A really old school military base. It's kind of based on the one in Hoek van Holland or Amuiden, which a really old 1880 or something cannons to defend the harbor entrance. Which in the video you saw me letting it spin by using the procedural object modules. At some point I wanted to build this pontoon bridge, which I thought was really cool. So imagine this is the base. This is the big fortress. A lot of people work here, we got a monument, we got artillery, we got an even older fortress here. This is called a rondfort, which is very widely spread in the Netherlands. You see them everywhere. And they are modular. So you guys can build your own fortress. This will be on the workshop. Everything you see will be on the workshop in due time. So next to the base, you can take the pontoon bridge for the pontoneers. And here's a small artillery building or build-up with some kind of trenches and guns. And imagine this will be their exercise area. But maybe in war they actually have to shoot. You never know. I kept an open area here in case I want to add an airfield, which I will. And this is also a pretty cool feature. In Holland you had these areas which they could flood. So imagine war breakout, they would be able to blow up dikes and dams and they would just flood the whole area so tanks couldn't get through. Something I never told was that I built a harbor. I kind of forgot recording it. There it is. And maybe the coolest thing I have on the map is this open water swimming pool. These were very widely spread in the Netherlands until the 80s, maybe even the early 90s. My parents learned to swim in these kinds of pools. It's basically a floating pontoon on top of some pillars and the water just goes underneath it. But it has a lifeguard, it got everything a normal pool has, but the water, yeah, it's just a lake. Probably with some sand bottoms, but I have seen in Holland also some pools which are in deeper waters, for example in Rotterdam. But I really love building this. And then we go to the factory. This is a new factory, very proud of it. I think it's really cool. I like the little bit more modern styled harbor here. And the most important part is this neighborhood. I live in one of these neighborhoods. Basically, back in the days, a factory or a company would take care of their employees. So they would provide pensions, healthcare, schooling even, and most importantly, housing. And often within these neighborhoods, you could see someone's job within the company. So for example, the smaller ones here in front are probably for people who work low on the social ladder or low in the company. They, let's say, little skilled labor or whatever. Here's the school for the kids. Daddy brings the kids to school and can go to work. Or mommy brings them to school probably, back in those days. And these would be the houses for example, the engineers or the management or people who would be a little bit higher up in the company. And my idea was this might even be the director's building, but I think it's cooler that this might be the head of school who lives next to the school. Something like that. So yeah, I think that's really cool. And there's also some benefits like a soccer field. I have a tennis course right next to my house, which is, well, it still bears the name of the company. And actually in the town I live, there are like 3 or 4 neighborhoods which are built by shipyards. So yeah, it's really cool. And often the street names would even refer to their place within the company. So for example, I live on a street called Elektrostraat, which refers to the electrical department. So yeah, you can see what the idea is. I think it's really cool. Yeah, and for the rest, the town is still really growing. I really enjoy how it's turning out. I add some military stuff which you saw only on the pictures, but for example, here are some bunkers, because the bridges are strategic and you want to make sure the bridges aren't being captured by your enemies. So this is an S-bunker built to bear a machine gun, and these are very common in the Netherlands. I think from this type there are even about 500 of them. This bunker is called a schuilplaats, and basically the idea was when the enemy attacked, air attacks or bombardments, the soldiers could hide in these pyramids. I think the regional name is pyramids. I do love how they came out. I know the texture on the chimney is too dark, but I'm gonna change it before I upload it on the workshop. But for the rest, yeah, it looks really cool. I think this little bit of a crunchy old school look is really working. Happy about it, yeah. And yeah, I think that's it for now. There's so much more to come. I have so much planned. I am thinking of building an airfield soon. I already built some small airplanes to add. Yeah, but stay tuned for more. For now, I just want to thank you guys for taking your time to watch this, and I hope you guys will be with me on the next episode, which I'm afraid will take a while because I have to travel for 5 weeks. But afterwards I have another vacation, so maybe there is some time. For now, I just leave you with some cinematics, and we'll see each other probably by the end of the year again. For now, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys really enjoyed this, and thank you for sticking around again.